Good day, dear colleagues. For your attention, we present a report on the topic features of designing and implementing an information system for studying and determining the level of foreign language proficiency. One of the most common sections of distance learning is a study of foreign languages, as this knowledge is the key of success in today's world, and the waste amounts of information processing and exchange are becoming increasingly important. Due to the process of the labor market globalization, and knowledge of foreign language significantly increases professional competitiveness between specialists in various fields and promotes business contacts in all spheres of life. That is why knowledge of foreign language is a necessity for a person's professional activity and successful career growth. Given these features, their urgent task is to design and implement an information system for studying and determining the level of the foreign language proficiency. The analysis showed that a significant number of approaches to learning the foreign language have been developed nowadays. It will be considered each of them for detailed research. First is a grammar translation method. This method is based on the traditional approach, teaching Greek and Latin, which aim to teach students to read and translate literary works, while the communication component as such was not used. Next is audiolingual method. In this method, students use only the target language in the learning process. New words and grammar are explained orally in a foreign language. Third is situational language learning. Its main principle is a study of vocabulary and the practice of reading, and storytelling. In reading, learning processes are divided into 3 stages. It's like acquisition of knowledge, memorization through repetition, and using of the knowledge in practice. Next is communicative language learning. One of the modern standards of language learning. Its main principle is to focus not to the study of grammar, but on the communicative aspect. Next, immersion method. Many consider it the most successful way to learn the second language. Language learning is mainly through communication. Yes, third method on this slide is the method of storytelling. According to this method, classes use a combination of reading and storytelling to help students better understand foreign languages. Method of physical reaction. According to this method, the listener is initially as a passive performer. Next is method of quiet learning. According to this method, students must learn independently, and the teacher should only help them develop responsibility and autonomy. And in general, the list of methods of learning foreign language is not exhaustive. We can say that the ideal method does not yet been invented, but it is worth noting that it can't hardly exist at all, because everyone has different mindset and different skills. So the best effect in learning a foreign language can be achieved only with the individual approach. Taking into account all peculiarities and individual requests, it's planned to be implemented in its software system. The purpose of the study is to design and implement a system of studying and determining the level of foreign language proficiency. The study will provide tools for learning foreign languages depending on the initial level of the user, the required purpose, and the need for certification of skills which will increase its competitiveness in the labor market. The results of the research solve the current scientific and practical problem of creating a methodological approach and software for learning foreign languages. The subsystem the initial stage of the creating of the system, the necessary task was to determine the basic requirements which it would meet. Given that, one way is to present the requirements in the form of scenarios. In the process of forming work scenarios, the subsystem learning material was identified, which is presented to users with the roles of teacher and student. The subsystem educational materials is designed to enter the and update database for teaching materials, manuals, video and audio files, web resources, as well as providing access to this data to user to the different roles. Input data for the subsystem defining search criteria, for example, type of level of complexity of tasks, choice of the ultimate goals, etc., as well as the keys for access to selected training materials. After processing the received input data, the system gives the user to the opportunity to use all the necessary training material. Further research was aimed at building methods of system operating using the apparatus of algorithm. The first stage is the implementation of the algorithm was the description of unit terms and the synthesis of sequences, which is given below. The main sequences, the first sequence S1 is a sequence of system operation in case of authentication, data and non-compliance with the established requirements. Second sequence, sequence 2, the sequence of operation of the system in the presence of application and application data and compliance with the established requirements. And last is sequence 3 is a system operation sequence in case of no authentication data. The next step is the substitution of the corresponding sequences and the elimination of L2. As a result of using the properties of the algorithm, we make common unit terms for the sign on the elimination operation and obtain the following formula of the algorithms. The next stage of the study was the design of the system using an object-oriented approach. Namely, at the beginning of the design, a diagram of usage option was created in the Visual Paradigm software environment and shown in feature frame. The diagram of activity of the design system is presented on feature 4. From the user's point of view, it is mandatory to register and pass a language proficiency test. There is feedback on the platform that allows the user to leave comments and interact with the teacher online. Training takes place through the interactive properties of the platform, graphic and multimedia display of educational material. The PatriNet on this slide was used as a device for modeling the sequence of actions of the system. In this case, in the general case, a simple label to PatriNet can be represented by the dependencies MN, whereas the set of network states, the set of the transitions, F the set of arcs. The PatriNet for the design system has the form shown in figure 5. The purpose of each position is given in the table 1, and the purpose of each transitions is given in the table 2. The next stage was the construction of a system for studying and determining the level of foreign language proficiency. The developed system is characterized by a simple and intuitive interface implemented in accordance with the requirements of CO. Passing the test is implemented by a separate model, which is responsible for establishing the level of the language proficiency and testing language skills. The model is based on the methods of natural language processing. For the principal implementation of NLP concepts, the special library was used, which is a part of the machine learning algorithms for natural language processing in Golang. After passing in the English learning test, the user can start learning. He can choose the material he wants to work with: video, audio recordings, podcasts, or authentic tests. After learning training exercises, the testing area must. Again, the user can view the data on the paste material as well as the results for all tests on his profile page. The peculiarity of the creative system is that it provides tools for self-selection of skills that the user seeks to improve. And as a result of the study, the existing methods, international classification and noun system were analyzed, which provide tools for learning foreign languages and describe the mechanisms for assessing these skills. The created software product works in prototype mode and implements the prescribed functionality. Further research will focus on creating the mobile version of the system, resolving conflicts and expanding the functionality in accordance with the defined requirements. Thank you for your attention.